So let's register an SSH connection with ArcShell, and I'll show you what's actually going on when you do this. So first thing, we need to source ArcShell in. Now in the first video, I installed ArcShell in an Azure instance. I'm actually going to create, I'm actually on a virtual machine now on my laptop, or not my laptop, on my desktop here. And I'm going to go ahead and create an SSH connection to that Azure instance. In your case, you're probably installing on a machine and then creating SSH connections to other machines that you haven't installed ArcShell on. So I hope that makes sense. So anyway, we source in ArcShell and then we can type SSH list. You should only see your local connection, the machine you installed it on. In this case, it's my local connection is ePost at Ubuntu 16. And what these are basically just pointers to files. If I do a -A, you can, well, I'm sorry, let me do a -L. It lists those files and I can show them to you here in Sublime. Those are the files. So when you create an SSH connection, it's going to go to your what's called the ArcShell global home, which is your ArcShell home directory, and then the subdirectory Arc. That's your global home. And that's where you're going to do most of your configuration, where you're going to put your custom shell scripts and things like that. So when I create an SSH connection, all it is a file. And the name of the file is your connection, is your user at hostname. And then opening the file, you'll get details. So why is that showing up? That shouldn't show up there. So anyway, let's go ahead and create a file. I'll go back to here, and I've already got this in my cache. So we're going to just run SSH add -alias Azure. That's just the name I'm going to give this connection, and then I have a username at IP address. And then we need to run SSH refresh because we do maintain some indexes for the tags and things like that. And I should then just be able to say SSH connect. I could say -SSH Azure. Could do that. I could just say Azure, or I could do nothing because since I just created that connection, it should be cached. Nope, it's not. So we'll do SSH set. Okay, now connect. So I can set the connection and it remembers that. So then if I hit exit and I hit it again, it takes me right back to it. And of course, this is where I actually installed ArcShell. So it is installed here. And I'll just show you. I'll source in ArcShell from a new install, and we'll do SSH list, and you'll see all it does is has one connection. And if I go to my Arc global home /arc config, and we go, whoops, cd $arc global home, is that right? Yeah, cd config. There it is. Sorry. And we go to SSH connections. You can see there's that arclogic.azure1 file. Now let me go back to my machine here and pull up the file that got created when I ran that command. And you can see we have an alias. That's what we set. We can add tags. We can define the port if it wasn't 22. We can add a SSH key file. And where is that? I don't see that. Okay. I'll show you that some other time. We can use SSH pass if that's installed. It'll automatically implement SSH pass for you and use that if you don't have keys set up. And then this is the password for SSH pass. If you're using SSH in scripts, you're using the SSH library that ArcShell ships in scripts, and you want to put hard-coded password, this is where you would put it. Not always the best idea, but it is optional, and sometimes that's what you need to do. So anyway, that's how to set up an SSH connection. Of course, you want to get all your SSH connections set up. We're going to eventually integrate with other tools like Ansible and things like that, since you may already have those SSH connections registered there. But this is a great way to quickly gain a lot of efficiency from the command line, jump around from server to server, and that. And also, since these are global, when we distribute this copy of ArcShell out to our remote nodes, all those connections get shipped with it. So I don't have to enter them in on each node. As long as you've entered them in once, then you just copy this image of ArcShell out to those other nodes, or you sync it, and all those changes get pushed. And so then all those connections are available on those other nodes too. So anyway, that's all there is to it. If you have any questions, get in touch and I will answer them.